Hey, how's it going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater, and today in this box I have the 140th different kind of dwarf freshwater shrimp that we have at the Garden of Eater. And well, today this box comes from my good friend Timothy from Crypt Keeper Aquatics. So let's get started. I'm just kidding, I already opened the box. I did that earlier today, so let's take a look at that first. Alright guys, so we got a box here from Crypt Keeper Aquatics. My buddy Tim sent this box last Friday all the way from New York. Again, postman dropped it off and did not knock on the door loud enough. So it actually sat out there probably longer than it should have because I didn't see it until I had to go get the kids from the bus stop. Got the kids and had to set up everything. I don't know why. I thought Shelby was going to be home and that she'd be able to help me with all this. So I don't know how good the quality of everything is, but so far this is what's in the box. We had a little piece of styrofoam, nice one of the smaller boxes, and then we've got some little red button on the microphone, and that was a bad idea. It was a bad idea, Crypt Keeper. Alright. Moment of truth. They have sat in transit a little bit longer. I'm not going to critique everything. I think I'm going to wait until tonight. I'll go back over the video and give a little bit of critiquing with better lighting and a better situation. I don't even know if the sound quality is working, if everything's on board and linked up, so we're just gonna get the footage and I'll ramble on. So far, not bad. Newspaper, paper towel, but the moment of truth. And for those who were trying to guess what kind of shrimp I got, I don't know if those are gonna come up on the camera or anything. I'll definitely be doing some extra footage afterwards. These guys will actually be going up in the middle tank on the 4th row of the new rack that holds 90 10-gallon tanks. But these are the orange eye blue tiger, or orange eye red tiger blue body. I'm so sorry, I already butchered that. Gorgeous though, not a single DOA, and they were in transit for an extra 2 days. So not bad packaging. However, there are definitely some things that we can go over and tweak to make things a little bit better. But of course, no dead on arrival. Can't really complain too much, but if these have been in transit for, say, an extra 2 or 3 days, there's some things that you could do to increase survival rate even longer than that. So thank you so much, Crypt Keeper. Let's get these guys acclimated. So as you can see, the shrimp made it just fine. I got them acclimating here in the bowl. However, one of the shrimps isn't doing too hot, so I'm deciding to acclimate him in a separate container and get him moved into the tank a little bit faster. But these guys are going to go on a drip until Shelby gets home and she can help me film them going into the tank. And as you can see, these shrimp are just awesome. They've got the orange eyes, some red tiger stripes, some blue. They are a little bit stressed out, so their true colors are still going to come out in a couple of days as they get to a little bit more comfortable in their tank and less stress. However, the one shrimp that I did acclimate on its own, he's doing just fine in a little shrimp tunnel that you get from Seachem. And this whole tank is kind of our Seachem little setup tank that we've got going on. Our little tester of the Aqua Vitro substrates and the Seachem minerals. Everything else though, we're keeping basically the same routine method that we do throughout the rest of the house. But these are relatively hardier shrimp, being that they are tiger shrimp. They are just a cool, rather rare morph that we didn't have yet at the house. Now this was Crypt Keeper's very first box of shrimp that he had ever shipped out, and he had asked us to critique him a little bit. So if you want to go check out his channel, we've dropped a link to that video in the description down below. He does a whole video walkthrough of his method of shipping out, and then we're going to go through now and critique and improve on it, so that way in the future, if he ever does ship out more shrimp in the same box, or they get stuck in shipping for a little bit even longer than they had been, well, they'll have an even higher success chance of arriving safe and sound like they did today. So to start it off, the first thing I got to talk about is the box was shipped out on a Friday. Now this isn't recommended because with a 2-day priority shipping, it being in transit on Friday, Saturday, it could be delivered on Sunday. However, it is not normal operating hours for the post office. They don't accept any packages and they don't deliver anything on Sunday, except for like Amazon, Walmart, Target, special packages. However, priority mail is not going to get pushed out on a Sunday. So therefore, it's already stuck in transit for an extra day, and with any extra delays added on to it, like what happened with this box, it was spent a whole 5 days in transit, where it could have only spent 4 days if it had been shipped out on Saturday. But the next thing he did get right, this is a great box to ship out shrimp in. It does take a little bit extra work. It's harder to print out the labels online and get them going. That's why we use the medium flat rate boxes. But this box is a little bit more sturdier and has a higher success of getting through the mail without being damaged. But this is something that we do not do, and that's put live fish on the box. Even with live fish on the box, the mailman did not knock to get my attention. It was like it didn't matter at all. And there are some sick individuals out there, sadly, and it only takes one of those in transit from one place to another for them to kick your box or give it a good shake and spin or something like that. You never know what's going to happen, and we've had higher success with actually leaving this off of the box than putting it on. Now, the taping, everything's done already, but I had to go through just so I can use it as a prop. But left it open on all of its bits together so I could remind myself of how it all went. And now the styrofoam is great. It takes a lot of work and extra cutting to get it fit into the box as nice and snug as he has it, but everything is nice and done up so that way there's no wiggle room or anything like that. However, watching one video on YouTube, I saw the boxes go through a sorting machine and watch the box get stuck at an angle and then torn open, and it just so happened that inside that box was some styrofoam. The year before that video, the winter, we had a lot of boxes just get damaged, ripped open, and it just, not a lot, maybe 3 to 6, but it was more than we ever had during our normal shipping during the summer, spring, and fall. So the only time of the year where we were using the installation was during the winter time, and that's when we had the most damaged boxes. The following year, because of that video, I thought, well, let's put some crumple zones inside the box so if they do get stuck in those sorting machines, the sides of the box will get damaged and not completely ripped open, or the styrofoam causing the bags to get smushed or popped. So we've had a lot more success with just shipping with straight newspaper than using the styrofoam. And then the next thing was this little airbag. It's a nice little space sealer. However, it's not very good for controlling any heat or insulation purposes. So for that reason, I would purposely fill the box up with more newspaper if possible. You did wrap the bag up in newspaper, but it's very, very minimum amount of newspaper. You can go heavy and make the thing a nice big old burrito. However, the next thing is water volume. Those bags are the right kind of bags, but with this size box and shipping out one bag of shrimp, you can fit in the 7-inch by 14-inch breather bags, the APKG or the cordon breather bags. If you can find those are excellent. But it's, you know, if that's all you had, it made it, no problem. It's just a short amount of time in transit. But if these things got stuck in a hub in Texas or somewhere and they spent an extra week in transit, I don't think they'd do very well in that small amount of water. So for extra precaution, we do increase the water volume so that way if any shrimp do die and there's an ammonia spike or anything like that in the bag, it's a lot less of an issue with more water volume. It's more diluted. And then Shelby also mentioned that with the more water in the bags, you're also going to have less of a temperature swing as well. And that's absolutely true. Water is going to be the best insulator there with a few sheets of newspaper. And this styrofoam, it's going to be plenty, but the styrofoam is not needed. Now let's talk about inside the bag. I can't remember offhand if there was any bubble in the bag. I'd have to take the camera off and rewatch that. I was more like excited about getting the shrimp. Even after 130 bags of shrimp, I still get excited. So I was more invested in if the shrimp were all alive than the care of the bag. But inside the bag, I do know there was a little piece of moss. Now we don't ship with moss. We use a little plastic loofah that you get from the dollar store. It's $1. You cut it, take the string out, and then it'll unravel, and then you just cut the loofah up into little long strings, and we use that so that way the shrimp can climb and hang on to that and not climb on one another and get each other all stressed out. The reason why we don't use plants is because plants in actual darkness will absorb oxygen rather than make oxygen. So it's kind of one of the things where if it is in transit for a few more days, you don't want the plants taking the oxygen away from the shrimp. And another thing you could add inside the bag are those little tiny white balls. The Purgeon, Brightwell also makes their organic R. That is what we've been using for years. We bought a big bag 5-6 years ago. We've been using the same bag. A little bit of that goes a long way. We just put a little tiny pinch in the bag. If there's any tannins in it, in one of the shrimp tanks that we have or anything like that, it just kind of clears up the water, keeps the water as pristine as possible. Will absorb any organic waste as well, like pee and poop from the shrimp. So that way it just gives them the highest success rate going through the mail. So again, Crypt Keeper, thank you so much. If you guys didn't go over and check out his video, check out his channel, please do so. He's very passionate about shrimp keeping, and I plan on doing a lot more collaboration videos with him in the future. So again, thank you everybody. Thank you Shelby for putting the video together, and well, all of you who are watching, enjoy the bloopers. Alright, second little tester here. Stays right there. That's crisp. Don't show that. That poor shrimp.